guys, it's Free Tip Friday. It's a little late. I almost just passed on Free Tip Friday like I did What's Up Wednesday this week because you know what? I'm just a little bit tired, a little bit worn out, getting over a cold again. Constantly sick because I breathe so much crappy sawdust and I need to wear a respirator all the time. I don't know. You safety trolls can just hammer me in the comment section. I don't care. I'm sorry for the audio on this video. The mic on my fancy camera is actually really terrible, and I didn't bring my lapel mic. You know, I am just an utter failure. But take it or leave it, man. I am who I am. I ain't making no apologies, but I already apologized, so I guess I am apologizing. Whatever. Shut up. Today's tip is about drilling in hardware. I've had this little $20 Irwin Home Cheapo piece of crap jig for like 10 years, and it works just fine and dandy. You don't have to get some fancy hardware jig. Just the old Home Cheapo special here. It's got two notches for your different centers, 2 3/4 or 2 3/8. I'm using 2 3/8 because my style is 4 3/4, so it's perfectly half of that. And it comes with drill bits, a 1-inch hole saw, and then the 2 1/8 I think it is. And you literally, you just, there I go with the literally again. Gosh, stop. You put it in the hole, you drill it from either side. It's pretty foolproof, people. Now, a couple little tips that some people might not notice is you just take your hardware, pull the little catch plate screws out, and then you just put those screws in there. It holds the jig in place. And then while you have it in there, you take your pencil and these little notches here, you mark those out. That's actually the corners of your catch plate. So after you take the jig off, you've got your reference marks for your catch plate or your strike plate or whatever, the plate thingy. And then all you got to do is just take your knife, scribe those, chisel or router it out. I've always been meaning to make like a little router jig that's just, I can just throw on doors to like perfectly router it out, and I just never get around to it. I always end up just freehanding it with the chisel. Works just as good. Obviously takes a bit longer, but I don't do hardware for a living, so it's like every once in a blue moon when I'm throwing in some hardware. It's just not worth the time to make a jig, you know. Also, hinge cutting. A lot of people are intimidated about cutting, routering out your hinges on doors and stuff like that. It's really not a big deal. I just freehand it. You just check the depth. You get a straight fluted bit on your router. This is a big monster here. Any straight 1/2-inch one is fine as well. You can use a smaller router, a laminate trimmer. You just set the depth and the thickness of your hinge. Now if you're doing a ton of doors, like all the doors in your house or something like that, first off, you always buy them pre-hung. If you've got the stones to try and like remake all your doors and you want to router, get a template for sure. But in a case like this where you're just doing one gate, you don't need to build a template. It's going to jig. It's going to take you forever. So all I do is I just trace my hinges out where I want them. Trace the actual hinge. Don't measure because sometimes the hinges change a bit. And then you just freehand as close as you can to the line. Like leave 1/8 of an inch. It's really not that hard to freehand within 1/8 of an inch with a router. It's not going to run away from you. And when you get within 1/8 of an inch of your line, it's easy to just take your utility knife, score that line perfectly, using a straight edge or whatever, and then you can literally, just punch me in the face if I say literally one more time. You could take your chisel or your knife and just cut that little 1/8 strip out. It's super easy. Your hinges will fit perfect every time. As long as you're not a schmuck with the knife, So the lighting kind of sucks, but they're money. The one thing you do need to remember if you're doing your freehand hinges is once you have your hinges set on your door, you have to take the actual door and put it in your liner or wedge it in place on your post and then scribe the hinges onto your post or your door liner directly. You can't try and measure and then do a takeoff on your door. You're never going to line up perfectly that way. It has to be a hinge to door frame scribe situation. That's the only way your hinges are going to line up properly. The other way you can do it is you could make a story pole and like take a stick of wood. If your door is super heavy, and put the stick of wood on your hinges and mark where your hinges are and then put that on your door frame. But you have to remember, every time you have to do a step, the more steps you add to a process, the more opportunity there is for human error. So when you can build something in the least amount of steps, you have the least opportunity for human error. If you start adding 100 different steps to every process, well, guess what? You're going to make way more mistakes because you're giving yourself more opportunity. So keep it simple, people. That's your tip for this week. Hope it helps you out. I hope it just made your day. Don't forget to click the like button. Help a brother out. Check out the website for tools. Samurai Apparel is like maybe a week or two away from being on the website, so stay tuned for that, guys. And watch some more of my videos. Okay? Okay. Cool. Cool. Alright. See ya. Bonus tip. I know earlier in the video I mentioned, that it's easy to just freehand in a catch plate. But I know some of you are like, no, it's not that easy. And I'd have to agree. It's pretty tricky getting this thing just perfectly recessed into the door with a chisel and a hammer. It's very easy to mung up those edges and just botch that whole thing. So, this is the trick. You see it? You see what I did here? Took my strike plate or catch plate or whatever, the little plate thingy, and I screwed it facing the good face into the door, and I just screwed it into the holes from where the jig was attached. And now this is how you get the perfect outline every time. Just take your utility knife, nice and tight to the plate, scribe, go over it a couple of times so that you have your depth right to the corner there. Then you take that off and you just chisel inside the line. Perfect every time. Looks like a router did it, except it didn't. A samurai did. That was for my homies, that watch right to the end of my videos. You got my back, I got yours, You're welcome. Samurai out.